I hope you've had a chance to review my last video, which was my networking upgrade video, which I thought was pretty cool. FS.com had sent me a couple of things to review and they turned out excellent. In this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be re-going over what I had previously done in this video up here regarding managing thermals and the proper build, the way to properly do it. And although some of this may be obvious to you now, it wasn't 2 years ago. And I had started this project over 2 years ago and had designed it in such a way that allowed me to expand without having to worry about thermals, electricity, or any of that stuff. So we're going to go over that again and what makes it proper. So a lot of people were telling me when I was adding an additional 24 cards that I had to worry about, the heat creeping up on me. And I reassured them that the heat is not going to change anything in that room. So we're going to go over why that is and why that the temperatures outside, if it's 110 degrees outside, that room is not going to change any temperatures whatsoever. And that's all based on my warehouse and server enterprise working stuff. Design is implemented down there. So, and all of you guys can do this. It really isn't hard. There's just two things that you need to do, and I'm going to show you that what we did. So we're also going to be installing an extra vent because we're adding an additional 48 cards downstairs. So we do need an extra vent, which is very easy to do. So we're going to install that vent here today. We're also going to discuss why grow tents are an awful idea. Don't do them. If you see people doing it, there's only one way you could possibly do it correctly, and none of them are doing it correctly. The other thing is we added more cards, one vent, and then we're going to do the temp review. So I'm going to show you all the temps in that room, as well as show you all the temps on my farm. And my 3080s are running at like 70 degrees memory temps. It's 110 degrees, 100 degrees outside. It's awesome. So it's going to be a long one. Grab a beer or a coffee or a water, whatever floats your boat. And let's go through this once and for all because nobody seemed to see the last video I posted. So let's re-go through it and just hammer this home with you guys. All right, happy farming. Okay guys, so we're going to go through this from start to finish, and basically the reason why I am rebuilding this video is because I know some of you have researched the hot and cold aisle stuff and all this other things that are going on around YouTube, and people are buying up octominers thinking that these are the solution to their thermal issues, when in not a doubt it is not the case. So that is part of the solution, and it will help you with the thermal dynamics of your setup, but it's not the actual solution. So what makes a proper setup? And I'm going to be doing some demonstrations here. The first part is we need to know exactly what your hardware is doing. So there are two different types of GPU thermal cards. So there's a blower type of card, which I believe is this one here. A blower type of card grabs the cold air from within the case and blows it out the back of the case. This is very crucial to understand, that all of that hot air is getting blown out of the back. The second type of GPU thermals is basically an open air thermal, which sucks. I personally hate this design, and this is the most common design, unfortunately, now known in the industry. This is most of the cards that you have will have this type of style, which is just non-blower, and it takes in the cold air through those fans and then blows it out everywhere. The issue with this, especially if you have this in a case, if you're gaming or what have you, that ambient air within the case continues to get hotter if you don't exhaust it properly. And it's hard to exhaust it properly because it's going everywhere in the case. With the blower style cards, you can easily manage where the heat's coming and where the heat's going. So in this scenario, It's not as efficient because there's not as many fans, but you can get the Zotac cooling fans that does this, and it works out fine. So anyways, so now that we know what type our video cards are doing, we know where the heat is exhausting. So the next step we need to do is how are we going to contain that? A lot of people are going to octominers or server cases. However, that is only one part of the solution. So the second part of the solution is making sure that there's enough pressure and airflow within the case. The issue with the octominers is that there's only 4 or 5 fans going through the case. If you have a server case, and I will show you how to do that here, then you can actually input multiple layers of fans within the server case. So you can actually have front, mid plate, and back fans that are pulling all the air right through, and that really helps with the airflow. It also makes sure that nothing's getting backlogged and nothing's coming back into the server for the heat. And the third thing is exhausting that heat outside the room is absolutely paramount. So you have contained all the heat, and what you need to do is we need to exhaust that heat. However, if you are bringing in ambient air and it's 110 degrees outside and you're bringing in ambient air with fans, it will not cool it past 110 degrees. You cannot get cooler than ambient air. So in this scenario, we need to find a way of cooling the actual cards. Now in a server room or a server environment, warehouse, they take the cold air from the ground. Now you don't need to take the cold air from the ground, you just need to get cold air from somewhere. And the way you do that is the same way that they do it in all these data warehouses, is an air conditioning unit. And you don't have to cool down the whole area, you just need to cool down the front of your servers. So in this scenario, they have 2 types of exhaust. One is going, hot aisle is in the middle and the cold air is coming from the outside, which is most common now in warehouses. The other one is vice versa, where the cold air is in the middle and it exhausts outside. It's a lot easier to contain the heat and exhaust the heat from one single hot aisle than it is to have it pushing out of multiple server areas. So containing the heat is a lot better. This vision that you're seeing here now is not very good because it's going out of multiple heat sections. So now that we know exactly where our heat is coming from, where it's going, and how to contain it, we need to cool it down. So, okay, so now that we know exactly where our heat is going from all of our servers, we need to make sure, and you can see on the right hand side here, those servers are turned around. The reason why those are turned around is because those servers contain A2000s, which are blower style graphics cards. So we had to turn the servers around and flip all of the fans in order to make sure that all the heat was going through out the back. And in order to do that, we needed to make sure that we have active cooling on both of those aisles. So although it is considered one aisle at the back, we needed to make sure that there was enough exhaust, because the pressure of the heat of all of that going out back is going to come back into the room. And we don't want any of that coming back into the room. We want to make sure that all of that heat is shooting out of the room. The other thing that we want to make sure of is, besides the active cooling, active exhaust, we have to make sure that it's obviously exiting far enough out of the place that it's not recycling coming back into the room. And on the left hand side here, we only have one air conditioning unit that is taking the entire room and cooling it very easily. That entire room is actually about 23 on average, 23 degrees. Right here I think it's 24 because I'm doing some filming in here, but the entire room is only 24 degrees and it's 100 degrees outside of the room. There's no air coming in from outside because we're actually cooling it with just that AC, and then we have a plexiglass blocking any heat coming in from outside. So no matter what the temperature is outside, it's not coming into the room. This is a self-contained setup, just like all of those data warehouses. So we have 70 cards here, and you can see here that I have 6.73 kilowatts of consumption, and we have 3.6 gigahash of stuff on our farm. So if you're telling me that the only reason why I'm able to cool that down is because I don't have enough cards, well, here we go. We've got 48 A2000s, we've got over 11 3080s, and a whole bunch of 3070s in there. So all you need is one air conditioning unit, proper exit of source, and then you're good to go. That's it. Those are very simple rules of thermodynamics. So let's move on to how we got here as well. You're going through a lot. Okay, actually, before we get into the installation and how I built those two active infinity fan exhausts, I'm going to do a quick review of what we currently have down there and the temperatures that we're getting with the current setup. So this has been going on for a couple of weeks now, and I'll show you quickly just the farm sort of thing. I'll flash up how the what Cougar is. So Cougar, the way it is designed, again, 120 millimeters in the front, 5 mid-plate fans, and then 2 80s and a 120 millimeter at the back. These are 380s. One of them is LHR. They're all below 90 degrees on the memory, all around 99. I can't seem to get this colorful LHR above 100, but these are all 99 degrees, or 99 hash rate with less than 90 degrees in terms of temps. The next biggest one is my Jester build log, which I'll post a picture right here. These are all going at 100, except for this one, because as soon as I increase the overclocking on this one, it starts revamping. But all of the temps are in the 80s. This one's actually 80 degrees. They're all 3080s, 5 of them in one Rosewell case at 100 megahash, all 80 degrees. That's pretty good, and I'll show you how it's configured here. We can go my 3070 rig Maverick. I did try to do some overclocking changes, which is why you're seeing a whole bunch of invalid shares here. I changed a few overclockings, but for the most part, I mean, they're 3070s. You can't tell the memory temperatures, so this is kind of a moot point. I don't care about what the actual GPU temp is. And then Viper is 5. Again, I was fiddling around with some overclocks, so that's why we have higher invalid shares. But again, these are in the 40s, 50s for the core temps, and we can't see the memory temps on those. The next, the remaining of the farm actually is a whole bunch. Every single one of these is 8 times A2000s, and they're all the same configuration. So they're all in the 80s, one in the 90s. Typically, there's going to be one that's hotter than the rest because it's on the opposite side of the wall of the case, so that's normal. But these fans are all going at 90, and it's around, some of them are 80s. Again, one's 90. We'll just go quickly take a look at another one. Iceman, all of them are in the 80s. Everything is fine. These are all A2000s. Let's go take a look at Penny. Okay, all of them are in the 80s except for one, which is at 90. And again, like, it's just, I'm telling you guys, this is the way to do it, and this is, there's nothing special about containing this heat here. This one's got a little bit hotter, I'm not too sure why. Oh, we just altered some of the overclocks on this one, so we'll see if that goes down. We'll increase the fans on that one, but pretty much, well, there we go. Everything's less than 90 degrees on the entire farm. So most impressive is the Jester build log, which is 5 3080s in a Rosewell case. I'll show it again here because I'm pretty impressed with it. All of them underneath basically 80 degrees going at 100 megahash. So that proves that it works. Now we can take a look at how we built it. Sweet. All right, let's go. Actually, guys, I think this video is long enough. So we went through a lot of information here, and I didn't even get to why grow tents are not good. I think I've kind of given you guys enough information on how to design a proper enterprise version of thermal management. So I can go into basically the description of why thermal tents are not good. And if you guys want that video, then I can go through the actual thermal dynamics of that video. In the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to show you guys how I built that second exhaust, that second 8-inch AC Infinity exhaust. It'll probably be just a 10-minute video of how I basically designed it and then ported it out, and also how we have all of those cards, 70 cards in there. So anyways, I hope you like this video. I'll make another video of how I built that stuff, and stay tuned because we've got a ton more videos coming, and I'm really excited where this channel is going. So please like and subscribe. It is very, very important. It gives me a lot of help, and it continues me doing what I'm doing. So thanks everybody. I love you guys. We'll see you in the next one.